Back in the day when the radio played and CDs spun our nights away. From grunge to grooves and R&B, 95 was the place to be. We're digging deep, 1 week at a time. Every album, every rhyme. It's more than music, it's a vibe. Come with us, let's take that ride. 52/1995. We're bringing that year back alive. From basement tapes to billboard highs, rewind the sound, relive the drive. Oh, 52/1995. Drop the needle, feel that jive. 1 year, 1 track at a time. Dive, yeah, let's dive. Spinning loud, feel the flash. Britpop dreams and alt rock crash. Hip hop truth, electronic night. Every beat still burns so bright. 52/1995. It's not just songs, it's a time capsule dive. Talking tunes to shake our lives. Tune and turn up and ride that high, yeah. 52/1995. Weekly drops, we keep it live. Let's rewind the vibe. One album every time. Back in the day when the radio played and CDs spun our nights away. From grunge to grooves and R&B, 95 was the place to be. We're digging deep, 1 week at a time. Every album, every rhyme. It's more than music, it's a vibe. Come with us, let's take that ride. 52/1995. We're bringing that year back alive. From basement tapes to billboard highs, rewind the sound, relive the drive. Oh, 52/1995. Drop the needle, feel that jive. 1 year, 1 track at a time. Dive, yeah, let's dive. Spinning loud, feel the flash. Britpop dreams and alt rock crash. Hip hop truth, electronic night. Every beat still burns so bright. 52/1995. It's not just songs, it's a time capsule dive. Talking tunes to shake our lives. Tune and turn up and ride that high, yeah. 52/1995. Weekly drops, we keep it live. Let's rewind the vibe. One album every time. Back in the day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 52/1995, your live music conversation podcast for diving deep into the music of 1995. I am Alyssa. I'm your host. I'm joined here by my fantastic co host, Cody. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is the first expansion of our 52 universe from our sister podcast, 52/1995 movies. Again, want to thank y'all for being here. Again, if this is your first time each week, just kind of lay it out for you 52 weeks in a year. We're going to explore a different album from the year 1995. We're going to talk about the important releases, really discuss them in detail. And I'm going to chat with my special guest here about their thoughts, their experiences, their emotional outbursts about the music. So, Cody, welcome in. Say hello.
Hello.
Each month as well, we are exploring a different music theme or genre. And this month's theme is British invasion. A lot of Britpop happening in the year 1995. So we had to dedicate a whole 5 weeks to it. And today's album is Different Class by the band Pulp. So I'm excited to talk about this. Cody, how are you feeling about talking about this album?
I think I'm excited to talk about this album. This is truly like I'm trying to think of the ones we've listened to this year. If this is a band that I have even heard an ounce of music about, I don't think I've ever heard a Pulp song in my life until this moment. So other like this, and then I guess how no, I've seen a little bit of How to Succeed. Yeah, I think this one's like the I know nothing about. I knew nothing about going into this, so pretty excited.
Awesome. I agree. I mean, most of the stuff that we're listening to, I have not heard either. But when it comes to Britpop specifically, right? Everybody knows Oasis, especially in the United States. Everybody knows Oasis, and some people know Blur, myself included. But this is, we're getting into the I don't want to say the niche Britpop stuff, but in my research here, there's a what folks will call the big four of Britpop. Blur and Oasis, of course, being the top two. Uh, Pulp being number three, and Suede being number four, which Suede did not, I believe, put out an album this year, so we're not talking about them. But I'm glad that one that we get to cover three out of the big four. But two, the other two, I think specifically because of what we were talking about the last 2 weeks, the Battle of Britpop, the two singles being released on the same day, and the media really taking hold of that. Um, I think maybe that kind of thrust those two bands into the public eye a little more than maybe Pulp themselves. Also, Pulp has been around for a very long time, before 1995 even. So it's kind of it's they're a very interesting band, and I'm excited to get to talk to you about them.
Yeah, it is exciting. I tried to do a little bit of research ahead of time, but yeah, like you said, they have been around quite a while. They have a deep history. I think they, unlike um, like Oasis, I think they're still putting out music. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, they have an album coming out in June of this year, and I believe they're also pairing that with a tour.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
So
yeah,
uh,
this is their second reunion.
okay, very cool. So a little bit like Oasis in that sense, where they had a couple different iterations or come togethers and everything. So
Hmm. Yeah,
nice.
and there's been various folks who have been in the band, quit the band. It doesn't sound like it was as devastating as it was with Oasis, where people were leaving out of anger. I think with this band, it's just that they've been around for so long. They're like, yeah, we'll come in and out as we please. But they have their lead singer has always been their lead singer, has been part of every iteration of this band, and we'll get into him and his antics later.
Perfect. I love that. I'm glad that you went a little bit deeper into it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I am the more this is such a fun month. This is kind of not going off topic. It's still on topic, but this is such a fun month because this is a genre that I knew very little to none about, and I am loving it. I am like so interested in Britpop now, like as if this isn't a podcast where we specifically talk about things that are 30 years old. Like this is all very new to me, and it's been so fun to discover. And that I mean that's the whole point of this project, right? Is
Hmm.
to listen to things and try things and watch things, with the movie side that we just maybe wouldn't have done in the past. And this is a perfect example of that. this, and I was even, I'm a little premature in saying this because we got 2 more weeks to go, but this has been my favorite month so far.
All
These
right.
three, I mean, I loved Ladies Month, kicking it off with Ladies Month. We had fun with country, we had fun with soundtracks, but this has been the most exploratory and the most interesting to me. So I'm having a great time over here.
Yeah, I think so as well. It reminded me, to go back and check out Oasis, a band that I really really enjoy, and then I get to hear more of Pulp, or I get to hear of Pulp for the first time. There's also another band this month that I'm looking forward to, or group or singer that I'm looking forward to listening to at the end of this month that I've never heard anything from, and then of course next week we'll cover something. That I am a little bit more familiar with. But no, this is a great month, and it's really inspired me to look a little deeper and, like you said, have an interest in this like time in the 90s
Yeah.
for British music altogether. It's very interesting, and it would be interesting to see like what we could compare things to now, because like obviously we can compare things back in the 60s, with the Beatles and the Stones and um several different the Kinks and things like that coming out, and then obviously punk music and stuff in the 70s and the 80s.
Hmm.
It would be interesting just to go back. I think I said that I would love like a documentary series to come out about Britpop, and maybe it already
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah. We need to look into
And
that.
we need to look into that. Yeah. But okay, did you look up a picture of this band?
I did, but I think the picture I saw was pretty young, so I don't know what they look like now.
Well,
But
I just think it's fun. Like in every picture, I just feel like they look like different versions of Doctor Who in like all the decades.
that's a perfect example.
I'm serious. Like you could look in there and be like, "Oh yeah, that guy looks like David Tennant. Oh yeah, that guy looks like
They
Christopher
even have
Eccleston." They
they
even
even
have
have a
a
girl.
they even have a girl. Like they're just missing the newest Doctor, but and then like you age them up a little bit, and they still look like some of the it's great. They look like Doctor Who versions.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you brought this up. You are so spot on.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about. I was like, these guys look like they could carry a sonic
Mhm.
screwdriver around and save the world. Um,
It's so British. Everything is just so British. And
they
even
just look so British too.
they do. And even going back to what you said about, talking about like the 60s and the 70s and British music in the 80s and what that looks like. I really think that Pulp is a combination. Someone said that they sound kind of like ABBA, and I felt really affirmed when I read that, because I was like, that's what I thought. I thought they kind of sounded like ABBA, but I wasn't going to say that because I'm like, no, I'm just stupid. Nope, someone else said it too. But the pop mixed with punk, and punk is something that keeps coming to mind, especially when listening to Blur and Pulp. Is that what they're talking about and what they're singing about is the essence of it is very punk, but the way that it is expressed is pop. It is very like, or smooth or calm or like surrealist in a
It
way.
it almost seems like, I mean, they call it Britpop or art rock or indie pop or whatever you want to call it, but it seems like grunge mixed with, but like coherent grunge is
Yes.
the best way to interpret this. Like if you could understand what Pearl Jam and Nirvana were saying in their lyrics and be
Way more
British.
keyboard. Way more keyboard.
Lot of synth in this too. Like
Hmm.
this one felt a little bit like they were you could tell that they formed in the late 70s and worked through
Yes.
the 80s and everything.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
like no,
I
I
was
really
sitting
enjoyed it.
here. I know. I was thinking, I was like, this kind of like I said, it feels like ABBA. It feels kind of 80s-ish. And then when I saw that the band had formed in 1978, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like this band's been around for a minute. And
They
which good for them that they're literally putting out an album this year and still going. That's awesome.
they come off like, especially Pulp, not so much Blur, because
Mhm.
Blur has that like still like Beatles esqueness to them. There is no, I've mentioned the Beatles every week this
You
month,
have to.
but this is the first time where I'm like, they don't sound anything like the Beatles at all.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah. No.
I think this is like, if I was gonna compare it to like somebody from, the 70s or 60s, late 60s, early 70s, or even into it's Bowie a little bit, like a punk
Hmm.
Bowie, even though
Yeah.
Bowie's supposed to be pretty punk, but like I mean, let's be real. But it comes off that it's like a working class Bowie.
Yes. I mean, that's the theme. That is what different class is about, is class wars and being part of the working class and saying F you to the British government and to the rich and being, what is it like to be a working class man? And oh my God, it's like it's the content of, again, like you said, I think a punk Bowie or like a punk like this working class version. I 1000% agree.
So it was definitely, it took me a couple. This is one of the few albums that I've listened to like several times. I've put
Yeah.
this album on like
Yeah.
at least 5 or 6 times. Um,
So I think we got a level set here. Uh, was this one of the weirdest albums you've ever listened to?
it, I don't know, like yes, but not weird in a bad way.
Right.
I would say like I was like, you're doing that
There
now,
was
and like
to say it, there's surprises.
yeah,
I so a couple like early last week, you're like, have you listened to the album yet? And I said, not yet. And you're like, I can't wait to ask you about it because I just need, I like, you're like, it's going to be interesting and I'm not sure how you're going to feel about it. So I'm of course already like prepped and primed. I'm like, okay, I'm like bracing myself for, and it is weird. Like if weird, I like, it's not a very specific term. It's not a very smart term to use, but but when I think about even just listening to Oasis and Blur did a couple wonky things on their album, but
right.
I never would have called it weird. This album was weird, but I loved it.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
really enjoyed
loved
it
it.
too. And like I said, it did take me like, whereas with Oasis, I was already locked in. I was familiar with that. I listened to that album front to back. I listened to it maybe once, maybe 1.5 times total, because I was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm expecting here. It is a pure British rock album and captures a time, and I love it. And there's nothing I can say about it. Because of like the differences in songs here and some of the
Hmm.
style choices and some of the like, it wasn't even like lyric stuff. One of the things I'll say about this band over maybe definitely over Oasis, maybe comparable to Blur, I love their lyrics more than any of the other two bands that we've discussed.
They feel way more intentional. Not that I think, well,
Yeah,
we know
and
from last week,
clever.
clever. You know from last week that Oasis was maybe high for the most. They're like, yeah, these lyrics mean like people are like, wow, these lyrics, and they have come out and said in interviews these lyrics mean nothing. We were high, and fine, whatever. And Blur had some good touch points here and there too, but Pulp, it's like every song. It is every song. They've got something to say, and it's good.
Or
And
and
it's
it's a story. Like there's some of these that
yes,
are a story and they're plucked from life, and you can find what the lead singer was talking about whenever he like,
yeah.
it's not hard to interpret, but they are like, there is a song, I mean, we talk about it early, where they use really good imagery um
Hmm.
to describe what they're talking about, and it's not like breaking, they're not, it's not super like in-depth poetic wise, but it just gives you good imagery, I think.
Yes,
So I don't know.
yeah.
I really enjoyed listening to the lyrics, looking up the lyrics, finding out more about each of these songs individually, and it definitely had more
Mhm.
fun researching this than I did the other
Yeah.
two. Because like Oasis is such an easy, like you can always go to the brothers and
Hmm.
Leah, yeah, like going to the Gallagher brothers and just being like, oh yeah, they hate each other, or they're just annoying, or they're just fighting, or whatever it is. Um, you don't have so much of that. Like obviously, Pulp. I don't know. Pulp just is just different, and Blur just seems like, nah, we never have any problems. We're still cool with each other.
Yeah.
Blur's
Like
like the
Blur,
most boring.
yes, I would 100% like Blur's just vibing. They're just here. They didn't have any drama. And Again, as I've said it the last 2 weeks. I love Gorillas, but I'm a way bigger fan of Gorillas than I am Blur. It's interesting to kind of see, like, do the comparison back and forth to see the artistic vision of both. I think the artistic vision makes more sense with Gorillas than it does with Blur. Even though that, just because it is maybe a fictional characters that come with a fictional lore and story, but Pulp just grabs you. It is like I was locked in. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. This shit is weird. We're doing some talk singing, not really
Mhm.
singing. This is poet. It felt like poetry, or in the sense that there's just a dude at a mic standing there reading off the things he wrote on a paper while music plays in the background. Like, that is kind of the vibe, but I
Yeah.
I ate it up. I was here for it.
Yeah.
So you ready? I want to talk about some of the research that we did.
Yeah, go for it. I'll
Wait,
jump
let's
in where
talk.
I see.
Yes, I say because I think because I'm about to get into this as we start talking about it. So like, might as well lay some
Yeah.
groundwork. So today's album is Different Class by Pulp. It is 12 songs long, only about 52 minutes. So about on par with what we've been doing so far. We mentioned already the band was formed in 1978, led by Jarvis Cocker. That is that man's God-given name. Jarvis Cocker. He's the lead singer. He is the mastermind, the vocalist, guitar, songwriter behind most of the songs. And he, again, has been in the band through every iteration.
Well,
What?
first off, I thought it might have been related to Joe Cocker, and
Oh,
he
I
is
didn't,
not.
that never crossed my mind.
Yeah, that was the first. It's not, they're just not related, even though that they are. That was a rumor for a little bit that Joe Cocker was Jarvis Cocker's dad. But it makes sense. It would make sense because they're both British. So
Yeah,
that's
both
it. I just
British, both in
yeah
music. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, no, I did not even cross my mind. I was just shocked by the name Jarvis. And for it to be Jarvis Cocker, I was like, all right, your parents hated you. So the band's, and this is, I thought was interesting, the band's kitchen sink drama lyrics, coupled with its references to British culture, led Pulp to becoming reluctant figureheads of the Britpop movement. So do you know what kitchen sink drama is?
No idea.
I did not either. I had to take a deep dive. So here we go. And this is, again, tying it back to our 52 movies. So kitchen sink drama, or kitchen sink realism. It refers to a British cultural movement in the late 1950s, early 60s that focused on the everyday lives and struggles of working class characters, often depicting their domestic situations in a realistic and unvarnished way. It explored themes of social inequality, poverty, and the disillusionment of young people with modern society. So this isn't just a pulp thing. This is a movement that they're, of course, pulling from the 50s and 60s. Very, like, there's a play that I can't remember the title of the play to save my life, but there's three people that are just sitting around talking about like the end of the world coming, and then it just like it's the most boring play on the face of the planet, but it's with a purpose. Like, and it's like the end, it just fades out and you never know what their fate is and you never know anything else. It's just those three people. They don't move the entire play. And that's what it feels like. It's just like people sitting, talking about their lives, not really doing anything extraordinary, not really following a plot, but they're dealing with these social issues, specifically British. And Pulp just took that and said, "Here's an album," which is what they've been doing through all of their albums. This is the
Mhm.
first one, and really the only one to hit major commercial success. So I just thought that I was like,
No,
kitchen
I've
sink drama.
never heard of that before.
Yeah, so very interesting. So that's a little bit of the background. Fun fact about Pulp: they did open for Blur during their Blur's 1994 United States tour.
Nice.
So more connections there. The band did struggle to find success in the 80s. Like I said, this is their most commercially successful, and it took over 15 years for them to get there. But gained UK prominence in the mid 1990s, first with their His and Hers album that came out in 94, and then following up with, of course, our album today, Different Class 1995. It did win the Mercury Prize, also reached #1 on the UK albums charts, and spawned 4 top 10 singles, including Common People, as well as Misshapes / Sorted for Ease and Whiz. And those two are typically depicted together because when the single was released, they were together. Another fun fact.
Real quick,
Oh,
what was released with Sorted for Ease and Whiz?
Misshapes.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I would think it sounds like it was a front and back single.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought that was interesting. I thought maybe they would release it because like I think Sorted for Ease and Whiz and like Monday Morning are supposed to be like paired together a little bit. Like,
oh, really?
yeah, I read a little bit more about that.
Okay. I missed that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just because it's kind of like in a timeline. Sorted for Ease and Whiz is like going to the rave and experiencing the rave, and then Monday Morning is coming off of
After the rave.
Yeah.
Well, we even Sorted for Ease and Whiz talks about coming down off the high. So do you want to hear a fun fact about Sorting for Ease and Whiz?
Yeah, go for it.
So it was called a pro-drug song, and people were calling for it to be banned. And the reason specifically was because the single had an inlay which showed how to conceal amphetamines with a DIY wrap.
Incredible.
And then, of course, Jarvis Cocker comes out and he's like, nope, this song is not about drugs. That's not what this is about. Like, everyone needs to calm down, when it's so very clearly about drugs. I was
about to say, E is ecstasy and Whiz is speed, right? Like,
Yep, they're street names. That's 1000%. And he's like, no, it's not a pro. Yeah, it's not. And he did say it's not a pro drug song, because again, it's talking about coming off the high. But like, these people were doing drugs. So I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, the single had an inlay which showed how to conceal amphetamines. I'm like, of course it did. So there's that. I have a couple other like fun facts about it charting. Again, this was their most commercially successful album. It debuted at the top of the UK album charts, won the 1996 Mercury Music Prize, went 4x platinum in the UK, and on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. In their 2003 version of the list, it was not included. In the 2020 version of the list, it was number 162.
Oh, and that's out of 500?
Out of 500 greatest albums of all time, it was number 162. Now, Rolling Stones, I will say, is quite biased, and their opinions are not very good all the time. That was really bad. So I'm just kind of like, I mean, I don't know why they had a change of heart between 2003 and 2020. Rolling, and then to bring up our Lord and Savior Taylor Swift. They think she is sliced bread. They rank her number one in everything, including vocals. And I'm like, y'all, I love her to death.
But she ain't it. She ain't it.
Yeah, Fearless being like the number one album. I'm like, stop. It's a good album. It's not the number one album. I'm pretty sure she's on that 500 list multiple times where maybe someone else should have been. But
they just don't want the fan mail or the
hate mail.
The hate mail, yeah.
I feel like Taylor Swift owns the Rolling Stones magazine. Like, based on the pro everything that they put out about her, I'm like, she's got an insider there. A Swiftie runs that company anyway. So that's all I got that was a lot. But was there anything that you saw that you wanted to talk about? I didn't know about those two songs being similar to one another. What else?
No, I think that was everything that I had. I've got some other things about the songs, but nothing that sticks out right now.
Okay. So you want to break down the songs?
Yeah, we can get into it. Did you want to talk about Jarvis anymore, or was there anything else about Jarvis?
No, I skipped over. I mean, I didn't really write down some of his like controversy because I was just like, okay, I didn't know what he was protesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you have that written down?
No, I didn't. I kind of skipped over it too. It didn't seem like it was like too harmful to anybody or anything. I think he was just,
He just seems like a jokester.
Yeah.
Like, for lack of a better term. So I guess during a Michael Jackson performance in the UK, he came out on stage and the quote was "wiggled his bottom," just like showed his ass and just flashed people. and as a protest, no idea what he was protesting, just says a protest. And during that performance, obviously got in trouble for that, did spend a night in jail, but he did get off because they were trying to charge him with like child endangerment with that. I was like, that seems excessive. But he got off with zero charges, got off scot-free, was represented by a comedian. Like his
Okay.
lawyer was a stand-up comedian. So like I'm like, this dude is just, what do we do? Like just an interesting man, I'll say, whose lyrics are wild.
Yeah.
So I
He-
would say there's not as much like you said, not as much controversy as it used to get with Oasis. Certainly not as boring as Blur is, but just kind of in the middle of it all.
yeah. I like that. And they're interesting because of it.
Yes, exactly. So what songs did you write down? I have quite a few, to be honest.
I I kind of wrote down all of them, but no, there was definitely one that I did not like that stuck. But my ones that I wrote down that I really enjoyed are Misshapes, Pencil Skirt, Common People, Disco 2000, Something Changed, Monday Morning, and Bar Italia.
Okay. Um, I have most of those. I have Misshapes, Common People, Disco 2000, Something Changed. I have Pencil Skirt, and I paired that with I Spy.
Hmm.
And then I had Sorted for Ease and Whiz.
And I misspoke earlier. Sorted for Ease and Whiz and Bar Italia was the one.
Oh, okay, so you
that
don't have Monday Morning.
No, I do. The only thing I put about Monday Morning is like that's like the most straightforward song on this album. I think
Yeah,
it's just like
I would agree.
work sucks. I know, you know. Um,
Yep.
and that's really, it's like, oh, you work for the weekend. You get, yeah, everybody's working for the weekend. Just another manic Monday. All these songs that are just talking about like, oh, didn't we have such fun in the 2 days? I mean, Rebecca Black even has a song about it. But like, don't you?
Yes.
Aren't you guys having fun on the weekends? Yeah. Now we're back at work and it sucks and it's mundane and
Hmm.
that kind of leads into like Blur. Like Monday Morning is like every song on Blur's album.
Yes. I like that. That's a good comparison.
Yeah. So
Um,
and even Bar Italia, I didn't enjoy until like the last couple times I listened to the album.
mhm,
Um and had the lyrics pulled up and I was just listening to it in that spot. And I really enjoyed that one the second time,
mhm.
like
Yeah, it's
recently.
one that, yeah, like I would agree, didn't really stick out to me. Because I think it's because so many of these songs are so jarring in like lyrics and the music choices and the speaking versus singing that whenever you get a quote unquote normal song or one that doesn't do something insane, it doesn't stick out as much. So, and that's I think what Bar Italia did for me.
Mhm.
Like it's a good song. It just wasn't one that I was like, we got to talk about it because it was so
Right.
straightforward. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what's happening here.
Yeah, I feel like they're either talking about sex in these songs or they're talking or sex, drugs, and being working class, and that's basically what they talk about and all.
It's like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, except it's sex, drugs, and being poor.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's not very rock and roll to be poor, but they have a lot of songs about being poor and life sucks, and even
They
like
do.
the people slumming it with the poor.
Yeah.
There's an entire
Well,
song about that. So
yeah. Oh God. Common People is so interesting. But
yeah.
we'll go in. Do you want to go in order or do you want to jump around?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Well, I think let's talk about Common People
Okay.
because since we just like, brought up, it's like it's the first single that came off this album. I think it's the most popular of their songs. Like even just looking at their Spotify, it comes like right this album and this song comes right up to the top. And so I was interested in it, and I like you're listening to it, and it's like you said, it's about a rich girl wanting to slum it with poor people just to see what it's like. And I really liked this one. I think this is an excellent example of the storytelling that you get the good imagery that you know exactly what's going on. I'm watching them walk through the grocery store in my mind's eye.
Mhm.
I
I
it
love
makes
the
a statement.
bridge. I love the bridge
Mhm.
of this song because you get the lyrics like, you can do all the things that you want. You can, look like us. You can do the
Cut
things
your
that we
hair.
do. You'll never get it right because when you're laid in bed at night and you watch the roaches climb the wall, if you called your dad, he could stop it all. Like
Yeah.
she's got that on the back burner always.
Yeah. She has a safety net.
Yeah.
And people, not everyone has a safety net. And it's a gut punch to like, not a gut punch, but like when you think about that, it is like not a scary thought, but it's like that frustration of some people have safety nets and I don't, or some people do and others don't. Who has a safety net? Who doesn't have a safety net? Um, could you just escape this reality, or is this your reality? And
Mhm.
like at first, like it's kind of fun. Like she's like, I want to, sleep with a common person, and he's like, can I be that common person? And get these most of these songs and these lyrics are so sexually charged, and I think on purpose, um, not just to sing about sex, but to make a statement with it. And I
Mhm.
think that really comes out in this song, where again he is working with her and like he's interested in her, she's interested in him, but he knows like by the end he's like, this is a farce and you're a jerk.
Yeah. And then like even in the chorus that he's kind of, not making fun of, but also like saying like, hey, all that us common people do is dance, drink, and screw. There's nothing else to do. Like that's how everybody views the working class people, is that they're kind of lazy and they don't do anything other than these things. They're just, you know, drinking and
Yeah,
having fun and everything, because there's nothing. What else could they be doing in their life? Because it's not that
right.
interesting.
Well, right. Well, and that's a very British mentality. I mean, it's something that you see in a lot of Western societies, but that line in particular, there's nothing else to do. The idea of the unemployed working class British person comes from a lot of union busting and a history of that, and just like this idea that oh, these like people are getting laid off left and right, and then they get blamed for it. And it's like, oh, these lazy working class people, they don't have a job. It's like, well, I don't have a job because you let me go.
Hmm.
And but that's where that mentality came from in the like UK specifically. So I thought that like these lyrics are so deep. Like, yeah, they make a statement, but then there's all these like underlying history lessons that you're getting.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that people in Britain already know. And as an American, I'm learning these things for the first time. I don't know, what was going on in the 70s in Britain. I wasn't alive, but I'm hearing about it now, and I think it's really interesting. Again, it's good social commentary with a good song.
Yeah, and their biggest hit, right?
Yes.
From this
Yes,
album. Yeah.
100%. And Misshapes, we said earlier, as well as Sorted for Ease and Wiz. Those were on that was on a hit single. That one went straight to number 2. The sale whenever people were calling for it to be banned, and Jarvis came out and said, "No, this isn't a pro drug song." All that media attention shot that single up to number 2 and
Nice.
sales. So, but I think Misshapes really plays into this as well, because the entire song is about people being discriminated against for how they look.
Yeah, and I really liked Misshapes. Some of my favorite lyrics came from Misshapes.
Hmm.
And as I was reading about it, like I said, I usually go to this one source for
I went to
because
that source this
it's
time, and it was very insightful.
yeah, it was very insightful, and I really liked. I'll go ahead and ruin something, but like the very first verse, he says, "Misshapes, mistakes, misfits, raised on a diet of broken biscuits," and so you think it like apparently biscuits, cookies,
Hmm.
as they are there. They would sell those in shops. They would actually sell broken cookies for cheaper. Um, and so like the idea that, they're poor, they're going in and buying these broken biscuits. All of the broken biscuits are in different shapes and
Hmm.
sizes and misshapes. And so how that applies, and like I said, like the imagery of just talking about broken cookies, the only people that afford broken cookies or that buy broken cookies are the poor, and like they are a bunch of the misshapes, they're misfits, they're mistakes,
Hmm.
so I don't know, I really like that, and I thought they did such a good job with those lyrics.
Yeah, it's such a small thing, but I mean, they do that in the United States. Have you never seen those being sold before?
No.
There's actually, you know what? I've seen it in a chocolate shop. So in my hometown, there's a chocolate shop, and they sell the the mess ups. So if like if a nut cluster like looks really weird, or if a pretzel, a chocolate covered pretzel breaks in half, they package it all together and they sell it bulk for a lower price.
Well, I know
So
Instagram was trying to advertise to me that Misfits box service
yeah,
subscription box.
produce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
So
there's nothing wrong with
yeah.
this cucumber, but it looks weird, so therefore I can't sell it at a grocery store.
Yeah, I think that I think we've just been too why that's not a familiar thing to me is because we have big box stores, and big box stores
True.
aren't showing broken cookies. They
Yes,
do sell
you're
those
right.
cakes in a cup though, not cupcakes, cakes in a
Cakes in a
cup,
cup.
where it's just all the stuff that they, shaved
Mhm.
off, and it's just icing and cake, and it's great.
It is great. That's how my cakes end up. It's all broken and in a
It's
cup.
just a cup. We just put it in a cup.
Uh, but this song too, I like the beat. It has high energy. It has a
Yeah.
good bounce to it. I also think it's a great introduction to the album. I know, like I talk about, like this is the opening song on the full album. I love listening to an album in order, and I think this is an introductory song because it's like, we've got our minds, like we're smart and we can overcome this, and we're the working class, and like this is who we are. Welcome to Different Class, the album, and I love it. Think it's an excellent kickoff.
Yeah, but also, okay, great kickoff, but it does not
Mhm.
prepare you for anything else on this album.
No, no, it doesn't. But again, it's so strange because it's like we've talked about how some albums are not cohesive. That I'm like, wait, well, like, why is this song here? This doesn't make any sense. This is too much. We need to cut back, or we needed more. Like Jewel, I think that was poor Jewel. I just rage
You
on
hate
Jewel all the
Jewel.
time. That's my. I mean, looking at our rankings, it is my lowest ranked album of the year thus far. Now, that's not to say it won't change, but it just didn't seem cohesive. There were some pop songs and some indie songs, and it was weird, but in a bad way. This is weird in a good way, in that I was
Mhm.
surprised at every turn. I was not prepared, it worked. And maybe it is because the lyrics are cohesive in the sense that they are highly sexual and also highly dramatized.
Mhm.
So it's like, even if the music is all over the place, the messaging is consistent. So I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Who knows? Maybe that
Oh
is
no.
it.
You want to talk about Pencil Skirt?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about Pencil Skirt. What did you not like about Pencil Skirt?
I liked Pencil Skirt.
Okay, I did.
It was weird. So Pencil Skirt and I Spy, I put together, and I just wrote drama. Like, I was like, ooh, spill the tea, Jarvis. Like, that's all I could think of, because it's like, oh, in I Spy, they say, oh, I've been sleeping with your wife for the last 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And in Pencil Skirt, he's like, I know you're engaged to him and I don't care. And we're doing things, and he's saying shit that I'm like, oh my, like pearl clutching. It's really not that serious. But to me, I was like,
No.
again, it is the second song on the album, and it's just like, oh my God, here we go. Like,
Yeah, while I was uncomfortable with I Spy, there was something that really grabbed me about Pencil Skirt.
yeah.
Again, lyrically, I liked it. I think sonically, I liked it a lot better than I Spy.
Hmm.
Um, and
Do you think it's supposed to make you uncomfortable though?
the I Spy, I do.
Both of them, any of them. Like
I don't
these,
know. I kind of liked. I felt like Pencil Skirt was more playful.
okay.
Um,
I thought he got angry. Maybe not. Like, my interpretation was that by the end of the song, he was like not happy with this situation anymore.
well, I don't think he is happy with the situation, but I think it's like obvious. I think it's definitely like more playful sonically
Yeah.
than I
Yes.
Spy is what
Yes.
I think
I
I'm.
Spy is kind of jarring musically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of liked Pencil Skirt. It was, I mean, am I going to listen to it again? I don't know. But the storytelling
I don't know.
is, I don't know, but the storytelling's crazy. It's
Yeah.
so good. You know exactly what's going on. And I'm like, ooh, drama. Like, that is just how I felt about some of these songs.
I don't know.
So, like, tell me everything.
There were some lyrics in there too that really stuck out to me. Like, in I think it's the second verse, and it's now you can tell some lies about the good times that you've had, but I've kissed your mother twice, and now I'm working on your dad. I really liked that section because it's like, oh, your family already knows me.
Yeah.
and they're cool. They're cool with me. They like me. You're sleeping with me.
What's up?
What's up? Like, I
I
got
like
you.
it.
Yeah, I really like that one a lot.
I
Um,
agree.
but no, I Spy, I can't really get behind.
No, it wasn't great. I just thought again that the it's the storytelling element and the sexualization that went hand in hand that's why I put them together. I wrote Pencil Skirt and then had a side note about I Spy. So
I
I think
like
Pencil Skirt's the better of the two.
I like the piano like in this a lot.
Hmm.
The dun, 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 in the
Yeah.
choruses.
There's a
Um,
lot of bounce on these some of these songs,
yeah.
but there's a lot of like I just felt myself going like this or like
Mhm.
keeping a beat while I was listening. I really did like that.
So this song and I Spy are the ones that kind of remind me of, have you ever heard the song Wicked Game by Chris Isaac? You'll have to listen
No.
to it after you get off the. It reminds me so much of that, and it's like that whispery talking. Again, very high synth, very 80s, but super kind of sexual feeling. Like these
Hmm.
songs were very sexual, and it's interesting because I think of that too with like Live Bed Show, and then
Hmm.
Feeling Called Love, like in Underwear, obviously, are all kind of like sex
Underwear.
songs.
Yeah.
Um, but they all have different messages in them. I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's your. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's singing about the same person in every song.
No, he's definitely
Uh,
not.
Definitely not. So maybe that's why. Maybe like because you get a different person, a different
Yeah.
vibe.
So I don't know.
Um, what next? How about Disco 2000?
I love Disco 2000.
I did
I think
too.
this is such a fun song. And very cute. And when you like dig into who it's about, a real person in Jarvis's life,
Yeah.
a childhood sweetheart or childhood best friend that he
Hmm.
grew up with. And I don't know. I really thought it was cute. I thought this was a very
Yeah,
cute song.
I agree. The Deborah, like
Yes.
it's this one. It felt like this. We're getting into like a radio
This
song.
sounds like ABBA. This one sounds the most like
Yes,
ABBA to me.
this is the yes, and it's called Disco 2000. Like
Yeah.
that disco makes sense, but this is the one that I went. This kind of feels like ABBA in a weird way, and then I realized that they're from the 70s, and they've also been compared to ABBA.
And like
uh,
did they have to give any songwriting credit for that song, because that whole Deborah, like that whole part sounds just like that ABBA song.
you know what? I didn't make. Maybe that's why I thought they sounded like ABBA. I don't know.
It sounds just like that song.
I don't know. Were people suing over that back in the?
I have no idea. What is that
I've,
song that I'm singing?
well, you sound like you're singing physical. Let's get
No,
physical,
it's not physical, but
physical.
that would make sense too. It kind of does the same.
Waterloo.
Yeah, maybe I'm
Waterloo.
not. No, I'll look it up. I'll
We'll go
figure it
back.
out.
We'll go back. They might have sampled it. I don't know. But I love it. Again, it's like you said, it's so cute. It's kind of like the one that got away idea, or even if the hey, if we're have you ever had that pact with someone like, oh, if we're not married by the time we're 30,
Mhm.
then we'll just, we'll just get together, and you make that promise when you're like 12 with a boy and you're like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
dumb. But oh yeah, that's what it made me think of. Like obviously in the song, Deborah like wasn't really interested in him. Again, just like, oh, it's just like my mom's friend's son. But it is, yeah, it's a cute song. It's like a one that got away. I love it. I love that it's an actual person. It's very cute and very fun.
Hmm.
Yes, definitely a top song on the album for me.
Yeah.
Did you have Some Things Changed?
I did have Some Things Changed. I think I like I only put this down because I like the concept of the song. Like I like
Hmm.
the I guess the lyrics of this song and the message that
Yeah.
it has. Because it's like that shoulda, coulda, woulda. Um, it's I always say there's a movie out that stars Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's called Sliding Doors.
Mm.
And basically, that movie takes uh, like it goes from two different perspectives of the same person. And so if somebody gets on this train, uh, or if somebody doesn't get on this train, what their life looks like in both scenarios like that. And that's basically what this song is
Oh,
talking about. It's like, hey, if this didn't happen, what would our lives be like? Would they be better? Would they
yeah.
be worse? Would they
Hmm.
um yeah, so I really just liked I felt drawn to the lyrics of this one.
Yeah,
Um
it's about fate, and
mhm,
it's this idea that, just tiny little decisions, or I could have gone to the movies today, or you could have gone and saw your friend, but we ended up here in this place in this time, that like this is, and we were able to meet out of the billions of people on this planet and the billions of decisions we could have made. It brought us to this exact situation, and now we're together. And it's also one of the tamer songs on the
yes,
album. Like
it
this
is.
one isn't, and maybe that's partially why it stands out, is that it's not sexual. It's very sweet, and it's a sweet love song.
And I think that yes, but like again with the song, like they're saying like, oh, fate brought us together, but it doesn't tell you what fate it has. Like, I don't feel like it ever does in the song say like, oh, I'm so glad that we've met.
That's fair. I guess I maybe put my own spin on it. I was like, this is so cool, and you're like, they did not say anything.
No, but I think that's part of, like, it's just them not saying anything negative about them getting together or anything, but it doesn't say anything positive about them getting together, like super over the top. It's not necessarily a love song. And and I think it could have been taken and written as a love song. But I thought it was interesting that it wasn't like that. So,
Yeah, no, I like
I
that
mean, you can interpret it
interpretation,
any way you want, obviously, but
but that's kind of the beauty of it. That's
yeah.
really, I like that a lot.
That way it's less like, "Oh, I could have been here," like, because they don't know. They don't know what would have
Yeah.
happened at all. There is no knowing
Hmm.
that. So it c like I said, it could be better, it could have been worse. But we're
True.
but you and I are here together, so
Hmm. Yes. It is kind of like looking at the bigger world and going, "Oh God," like not in
mhm,
a not in a way that's almost existential. Like again, all the decisions that we've ever made have led us to this moment,
right, right.
whether that's good, bad, or ugly. And that kind of ties into, I got Sorted for Ease and Wiz on my list as well, and I put like it gets existential a little bit in that one as well. Like I wrote down, I'm like, is he experiencing ego death? Like is he
Mhm,
losing part of himself coming off the high? Because it's definitely about drugs and like a literal high, but can also probably be interpreted several different ways. But yeah, I think again a lot of these songs are great. I've said for Sorted that it's another song where I like the keyboard, and there's some big music
mhm.
moments in here that are really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of interesting themes and situations going on here.
What did you think about Feeling Called Love?
So okay, I in theory really liked it. I did. So there's sometimes I will just listen to the songs cold without like looking into it. Most of the time I just hit play and go, like don't really look into it. But there's a couple like occasionally, especially if it's getting towards the end of an album, it's almost like I kind of do the thing where you like look to the end of the chapter when you're reading a book. I looked up the lyrics before I actually heard the song, and I went, oh my god, these lyrics are awesome. These are like what a this is a poem. This is really
Mhm.
beautiful. It's a love poem. And then I hit play, and I was like, what am I listening to? This is crazy town.
This is the part that I think sound like the Flight of the Conchords on this song. It's yeah, I could play you a Flight of the Conchords song where Jermaine is singing and it sounds just like this. Like
I
I
believe
want
it.
I looked up because today I was like looking it up. I was like, was there inspiration for some of these songs from Pulp? And specifically this song because they have but I mean, Flight of the Conchords have songs that are like very Bowie-esque too. And
Mhm.
this is where that kind of lies, is in that like
Yeah.
Bowie singing and talking and
It's very
uh
talky.
yes.
This one feels the most like a poem. That he
Mhm.
wrote down the poem, he wrote these lyrics, he wrote this down, and then went, let's just throw some music in the background and hope for the best. But I still liked it. I think I would have liked it less if I didn't read the lyrics first. I'm not going to lie, but I did end up liking it.
This is like Song of Solomon in here.
Yeah, talking about her,
The
talking about
shape
them
of her
titties.
breasts and the curve of her belly makes me want to have to sit down and catch my
Catch
breath.
my breath, which I understand that's a sexual lyric, but in the like, I feel like that's even though he's specifically talking about her boobs, way less sexual than anything we've heard thus
Oh
far.
yeah.
Because it is like, again, it makes me want to sit down and catch my breath. I am breathless at the sight of her, at the tiniest curve of her body. Like I am like I can't believe that the universe stops when I see this person.
Mhm.
And it's good. It's a good song. It's weird. It's out there, but I'm here
It
for it.
is it is out there. It is weird. But yeah, it just felt like a Flight of the Conchords song.
That's
Specifically
very
the main
funny.
one. Yeah.
I love that. And that's a great. I hope that's on your pairings list.
Underwear.
That one was fun. It was weird, but it was fun. I liked
Man,
it. I like the lyrics.
I think it goes so hard in the chorus. Like I think it's
Yes.
like it would have been my favorite song if the verses sounded like as awesome and pound like oh I just felt like I was so into that chord. And it is not that kind of song either where you're like
Right.
fist pumping or anything, but I was like, man, this chorus is it. Like
There's
get a
a
little
lot of there's a lot of times where it get like the verse and the chorus are different or the bridge is just something completely new and we're like, what are we doing here? And it that those change ups musically, sonically are very fun. And they really can hook you in. Even if
and
you're not loving the song so much, you're like, yeah, this is great.
And this is one that I am glad that I went and did a little bit of more research about because I was a little confused about what the message
Okay.
was of this song. But I saw that Jarvis had in interviews was talking about like one, he wrote this song about himself. Even
Oh,
though
okay. I didn't know this.
even though that the character in the song was about a woman.
Hmm.
But the song is actually puts him he's actually putting himself in the that perspective. But he said it's about going home with someone, which seems like a good thing to do when you decide to do it. But then you get down to the actual nitty gritty and you're actually standing there in your underwear and you think, I can't go through with this. But how do you get out of that situation? So it's not like when I first listened to it, I was like, whoa, hold the phone. What are we listening to here? And like, is this really like about to be like super sad or just kind of sad? And it was just kind of sad.
It was
Um,
just kind of
it was
sad.
just
Yeah.
kind of sad, but it was the kind of sad that like
You get it.
a lot of people can relate to, like
Hmm.
you get it. You've been in a situation where you didn't really want to do something and you did it anyway, not for them, but just for your own like screwed up mind that
Yeah.
yeah, like and you're like, yep, here I am. And then you think
It
about your
is what it
decisions
is.
later. Yeah, and then you think about it and you're like, I shouldn't have done that, but say la vie. Um
Yeah. It's
no, I
relatable.
yes, I really like that, and I like the idea of going through that process and like having them like come to terms with the decision that they've made, and that, we see it on TV shows, we see it in movies all the time. The one night stand,
Hmm.
you know, trying to figure out where they're like usually they're drunk or they've partied and they're out of their mind a little bit and scattered and they're just standing there in their underwear and you're like, yeah, I get what this song is about.
Yeah.
But I was scared when I first listened to it. I was like, what are we talking about here? I don't like
Yeah.
this.
I'm like, where there was a couple times where like that happened in Pencil Skirt the first time I heard it. I said, where are
Yes,
we going?
yes, I did the same thing, and then they never got they like toe up to the line and they're like,
Yeah.
nope.
It never I mean, I think the music is like forces you to be uncomfortable in a
Yeah.
lot of respects, but it never gets to a point where I go, I can't listen to this.
Yeah. And because like I was listening more intently, like I said, this album had me listening harder than any other album that we've
You
listened
had
to.
to.
That I was like, oh, I gotta and luckily for you and me that there are so many great resources and interviews and things where you can get the answers to your questions. Unlike on some of these, like, and you don't get anything with that from Oasis when they're like, it doesn't mean
No.
anything. We're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, these are smart. This is intentional.
Yeah.
The intentionality behind this music is very, very noticeable, and it's well received.
So, yeah,
Very
that's it.
good.
That's all I had for. I wanted to bring up Underwear, and I think we've already kind of talked about my other ones. So,
All right. So what was your favorite song?
Disco 2000 is my favorite song.
Mine too. I loved it so
Yeah,
much. I was like,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you look at the history of it and everything?
Um,
Well, there's
I
not
feel
much
like
history other than like it's about a specific. It's
it's
about
about
Deborah,
Deborah.
but Deborah sadly passed away in 2015.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I
Yeah.
didn't know that part. Oh, it made it sad.
Yeah, oh no, I made it sad. But Jarvis, that year, I don't know if she had something wrong with her. I didn't go on that deep of dive, but like Jarvis sang this song to her at her 50th birthday party before she passed away. So I'm wondering if
Oh,
maybe she did have something
like they knew.
like, yeah,
Ah, that's so cool. That like
yeah,
what a like. I mean, to have a song written about you and have it be a good song and written in a positive light. Like, I mean, it's yeah, she was just popular, and he's like, you didn't give me the time of day, and I'm like, but it wasn't like it didn't feel like angry.
hmm,
It didn't feel like it didn't feel like how do you like me now?
yeah,
You know, like how do you like me now? Like it didn't feel like that. That was an fu kind of song for a popular girl who didn't give a loser the time of day. And I'm not saying that he's a loser. I'm just saying him singing that song is loser-ish behavior.
yes, yeah. But
But
yeah, I found
just
that out. I don't know where I found that information out, but yeah, a
interesting.
little sad.
No, I love it though. It's like, let's meet up in the year 2000. I'm like, I think it's very cute.
So
What about
sad.
your least favorite?
I Spy is my least favorite. It
Okay,
just
that's
it
fair.
yeah, it
It's
just made
weird.
me yeah, it just made me a little uncomfortable and I didn't like the talkiness of it.
A lot of talking
It
is.
was like, there's this other artist that I don't know if I'm comparing or if I'm right in comparing them together, but his name's Nick Cave. I think he's Australian. But he had this thing, like he whisper singed a lot and
Mm,
did like and talk whisper singing, talking, used like heavy synth and things like that. He's not always like that. He's put out like country albums and other weird albums, but I get like a
hmm
Nick Cave thing from the song, and I didn't really dig it. I don't hate Nick Cave, but not a big
hmm
fan either. So,
There you go.
what about you? What's your least favorite?
I did not like Live Bed Show.
Honestly, that was the one that sounded the most like that Wicked game by Chris Isaac that I talked about, and I just put
Yeah,
mid. That was my other thing. I just put
mid.
mid song, just the most mid.
I think I think it was just like it was a little too I don't want to say specific. Like it's just like she's just laying in bed contemplating life. Maybe it's because I couldn't sleep the other night and I was just like, this
Yeah.
isn't me. But, but like it's all it was about is just like lying in bed, contemplating life. You're in the bed, things about the bed, talking about her being in the bed. She's having an existential crisis. And I was like, can we get
Yeah.
something else? So it just I didn't
Yeah.
call me back
Yeah.
to it.
I get it.
Well, I have actually like three different like favorite lyrics. What's your favorite lyric situation? I know you've kind of
I
mentioned
did
a
the
couple.
misshapes one, just because I really like that part about the broken biscuits and everything. In Something
Hmm
Changed, I just had the line, "Where would I be now if we'd never met? Would I be singing this song to someone else instead?" Which,
hmm
yeah,
I like that.
that's it.
That's a good one. I have a couple. One I just thought was funny, and it is from Underwear. And it's if fashion is your trade, then when you're naked, I guess you must be unemployed.
Oh yeah, I did. I almost put that one down.
I just thought that was funny. I was like, oh, I mean, it's not, I mean, I know it's like you said, gave the background about it. It's not probably supposed to be funny, but I was like, haha.
Yeah, no. I think it's actually trying to be
um,
super woke.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I was at the time, the first time I heard it, I just giggled.
We
Maybe
got
because I'm an
flames in
idiot.
the chat. Is that because you thought that this album was fire?
because it was.
What else you got?
I got some from Common People. I got like a dog lying in a corner. They will bite you and never warn you. Look out, they'll tear your insides out because everybody hates a tourist, especially one who thinks it's all such a laugh. I just like that everybody hates a
Mhm.
tourist. And the idea of this rich person being a tourist in a poor person's life, it's like it's almost like exploring a new country. I thought that was really interesting. Again, very clever lyrics. Oh, in the chat, never heard it before, and it was my favorite of the month. Chat, we agree. I tell you, I agree. I love this album. We're having a great time with Britpop this month. This is certainly the most dynamic, I think, of the three that we've in terms of like again, we've called it's weird, but we like weird. So, and I've got one more, and this is okay. So going back to what was it, the feeling one, feeling
Yeah.
called love. So again, I had looked up the lyrics ahead of listening to it. There's a part where there are two sets of lyrics happening over top of one another, like kind of in the space between the chorus and the verse. And I, listening to it, cannot understand what is being said by any means. So, but when you read the lyrics, what is being said is, and as I stand and cross the room, I feel as if my whole life has been leading to this moment. And as I touch your shoulder tonight, this room has become the center of the entire universe. And it doesn't rhyme. It's spoken. Again, most of this song is spoken. It's a very strange song, and you can't even understand it because there's something else being said over top of it. And I'm like, oh my God, like what a beautiful line to write. Like I'm just like blown away. Like I'm full Kermit, like shaking about the
Yeah.
lyrics. Like again, I love that song. That was a good one too. I mean, was it weird? Yes. Did I like it sonically? Not so much because again with this, but like this is a poem that was written down, and they said throw some bass behind me, and that's what it was. And I'm like, as a poem, fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
No,
got
I
very
like
passionate
that.
there
I
for a
like
moment.
that.
So what about pairings? If you had to pair this album with another album,
You know, Chris Isaac keeps coming to mind. The Smiths is a really big one. Like if you could pair the Smiths and maybe the Pixies together, you would probably get this band. Also, The Cure. I would put this with The Cure. And
Mhm.
Fly to the Conchords was, of course, my other pairing.
I love that Flight of the Conchords. It's a great pairing. I put so walk
I'm
with me
walking.
here. I didn't go too rogue, but I put Panic at the Disco, specifically the first two
Mhm.
albums, because this album felt very
Yeah.
theatrical.
See, that's how
And
I
like
felt
again
about the
with
Blur
the
album. I think I paired Panic with the Blur
you
album.
did. You did. And I agree with that. But for whatever reason, this one, like, it made me think of Pretty Odd for
Mm.
some reason. And I was like, because maybe it's the weird like music
Yeah, that's
jumps
true.
and the storytelling of it all and the weirdly sexual part of all of it. Like I love that meme where it's like it's like, is it me that makes you sweat? And I looked like this when I wrote it. Like it's like they just looked like children. Is so funny. Um, so that was the first one, was Panic at the Disco, specifically the first two albums. Cake,
Okay.
specifically for the talk singing. Cake is the only other band that does the talk singing and like that I know, that I've know songs of. And it took me a while to get into Cake, and now that now I'm a fan. Like it took me a couple listens, and but like Short Skirt, Long Jacket,
Mhm.
like and that just, it was just like, oh, this is another like talk singer
Mhm.
in a way. Like it's the poetry of it all with music in the background. So I put Cake, and then I put ABBA because again, specifically because I was like, this sounds like an ABBA song, and it came up in some of the research I did that it's other people also feel like it
Yeah,
sounds like ABBA.
that is the most. Yeah, obviously, Disco 2000 is the most like disco-y song on there. But I put in the chat that you like a link to the song that I was thinking of, which is Laura Branigan's Gloria. I'll make you listen. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about once we listen to it after we get off here. But
Okay.
it sounds just like that part, to the point where I'm like, surely did you
Did you steal
pay
it?
for that little part there? Because it sounds so familiar.
Hmm.
I do like what chat says here. It's like a Labyrinth deep tracks album. Um, yeah,
100.
so much so. Like, yes, it is Bowie. Like,
Yeah, so we've been bringing up Bowie would be a
yes,
good pairing
absolutely.
too.
Punk Bowie.
So Punk Bowie, I like it. So I think we're in agreement. Like we probably would recommend this to a
The
friend.
right friend, though. Like, I think you either love this album or you hate this album.
I don't want to be friends with
I
people who hate
agree,
this
and
album.
I'm glad I don't have to not be friends with chat for liking this album.
I think I would recommend it with
Yes.
caveats, right? I say, hey, I'd say give it a shot, right? I'd say I started listening to this. I didn't know what to expect. I had a great time, and I would recommend it if you're interested in something different. Now, if you're not, and like, am I gonna say, hey, I'm gonna call up my sister and say, hey, you should try Pulp? No, Nicole's not gonna like Pulp, and that's okay. But if someone was asking, hey, can you give me something different, or what's an album that
Yeah.
surprised you in this project? This one is the one I'm going to come back
Yeah,
to.
it's a little remains of the day for us.
Yay! A little surprise, a little
Yeah, I
Easter
love
egg.
that.
So, what is your 5-star
I gave
rating?
it okay. I went hard on Oasis last week because I gave it 5 stars. But
You
I
loved
I
it.
went 4 on this one.
Yeah,
I went with a solid 4.
I gave it a 4 or
Yeah, I
5.
thought about going up to a 4 or 5, and I could probably be convinced of that. I just need to listen to it more.
I feel like I agree. I think the more I listen to this, the more I'm gonna like it, and the more because I'm gonna keep
Mhm.
listening to this. Like but that is the 4.5. It's not a 5-star because of the re-listenability. Like there's like we said, live bed. Like I'm not gonna listen to that one again. I'm probably not gonna listen to I Spy again. But I didn't hate it when I was listening
Mhm.
to it. But there are songs that I'm gonna come back to on this.
I like that
So
question though,
yeah, I get.
that just got brought up. Where does this rate on the Britpop scale for you? How Britpop is it? And I've got like kind of an
Mhm.
answer, but what do you think?
If I had to rank, if we so maybe at the end of this month we rank our
Mm.
5 bands. The ranking so far for me, and this is not me saying how much I like the band. This is me kind of in my understanding of what Britpop is or what I thought it was. I feel like Blur is our most
Mhm.
Britpop, and I think Pulp
Yeah.
is second. And I think Oasis is just indie to me. It's indie
Yeah.
rock. It's more rock than anything. Like I feel like, and this is not to besmirch Oasis and what it's done for Britpop, but I'm like, I feel like it almost like diminishes what they do. Like to include them, they're British.
Mhm.
It's not pop.
Yeah, I agree with
So
and again, that's a 5-star album for me, and
right.
I agree with you. I wasn't sure what Britpop was until we started listening to them this month, and I'm like, okay, Blur and Pulp make a lot more sense than Oasis, because but
Yeah.
it's Blur ends up going more the way of Oasis after this album in particular, the Blur album that we talked about.
Right.
So
It is interesting because, like, again, the genre bending, like you say, again, Blur really goes sideways.
And I'm
But
curious to look into maybe a couple of the other albums from Pulp, because what I read was that this one was
Mhm.
one, their most commercially successful, but two, it's like way different than their like His and Hers, I think was their next more popular one,
Mhm.
and so I'm curious what that album sounds like.
Yeah, so I was playing on Spotify, and once the album ended, it started playing into some other songs. They
Yeah,
sounded good,
like
like
could
so
have been
far,
on
like
this album
just
too. Okay.
yeah, definitely. Like I was like, wait a second, I thought the album
Yeah.
was over, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I that's a different album cover. Thank you, Spotify. So there's that. But I think this is great. I'm very happy with this album. Again, this was the surprise of the year thus far. I think it was awesome. Anything else that we got to say before we close out?
No, if anybody that listens or was watching or anything, if you have any information or any ideas about where I can get more information about Britpop, I'm interested. I've been like Googling things, and I've got a couple
Yeah.
books that I'm like,
If there's
I'm gonna look this up. Um,
is it, I bet you know what? I bet we can find like a YouTube
oh,
deep
that would be
dive.
even better because I
Someone's
like that better.
like, because the documentary is great, but like the production value of a YouTube deep dive, like that's how I found out about gorillas. Like there's an if I, again I plugged it like last week. There's an hour and 20-minute deep dive on the lore of gorillas. So if any, I watched all of it. It was one of my 2020 deep dives. So if anyone wants something to watch, but if y'all find a Britpop deep dive, we'll take that too. We love your YouTube recommendations as well as music recommendations. Speaking of music recommendations, Cody, do you have anything that you've been listening to this week?
I've gotten the mood for, British music, and I've been thinking about them so much over the last few weeks that I started listening to The Darkness again. And
You brought them up a few weeks
I
ago.
did. And maybe I was when I was talking about Blur. But I've been listening to, apparently they have 8 studio albums and just released one this year. And I know they had a little bit of a break after their second album, which is where I thought they were done. I only thought,
Oh God.
but no, apparently they've put out 6 more albums since then. So I've been listening to the
Hell
third
yeah.
album and really enjoying them. The darkness are more than just the thing called, or I believe in a thing called love.
I believe in a thing
They're
called
they're
love.
so funny, and I just love that kind of music. And he has such good vocals, and their guitar playing is crazy too. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
recommendation. Come on that darkness journey with me.
the darkness journey, a journey into
Mhm.
the darkness. I love it. I've been listening to a lot of Knox. Is a kind of a pop singer. You've recommended him to me because Steven recommended him
Mhm.
to you, or not. You knew him before, but he has that new song out called
Not
"Not the
the 1975.
1975."
So good.
So yeah, so I've been listening to a little bit of Knox, but it's been it's that's kind of where I recommend if you like a little bit of pop music, it's fun stuff. So that's kind of
Yeah.
it though. Just listening to him on repeat, to be honest. So that's all we got, friends. Thank you, Cody, for joining me again. Thank you for your Rex. Thank you, chat, for coming in and letting us know what you think. We love to hear from you. If you're interested in getting any more information about our podcast, you can join our Discord server, find out all things 52 related, 52 universe, or you can follow us on Instagram. Either way, we'll say we're happy to have you. That's where you get all our information, when podcasts are coming up, things like that. Next week we're covering a band I think most people know. The album is called The Bends, and it's by Radiohead. So that is next week's album. We are talking about Radiohead. I am excited. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We will see you next time on 52/1995.